With regards to the CSU certificate saga, Tinubu's lawyer has come out to state that Atiku might fail at the Supreme Court. Now, we should recall that the former Vice President Atiku is alleging that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu forged the degree certificate he submitted to INEC. At his presser on Thursday, the former Vice President and the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the just concluded 2023 election insisted that the document which the current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu submitted as his certificate was fabricated and that he would not back down from the case until the Supreme Court delivers its final judgment. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Friday said that the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has failed in his bid to unseat him using his Tuesday's deposition over a degree he obtained from Chicago State University in USA. Speaking to our newsmen through his lawyer, Oluwole Afolabi, Mr. Tinubu described Atiku as being on a wild goose chase. Atiku had on Thursday addressed a press conference following the depositions made by the Chicago State University over the degree Mr. Tinubu obtained from the university in 1979. In the deposition, the university said that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did graduate from the university as he claimed. He did graduate from the university. That the university was, however, not categorical when asked if the certificate he submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) was forged. However, speaking with our newsman, Mr. Afolabi said there is nothing in the record to back up such an allegation. He who alleges must prove. It behoves on Alhaji Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party and his lawyers to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the document was forged, and they failed in that regard. Suspicion is not the same thing as proof beyond reasonable doubt. Now Alhaji Atiku is on a wild goose chase, and he and his lawyers know that. Under the provisions of the Electoral Act, there are no provisions for introduction of fresh evidence on appeal. In a regular civil appeal, you can introduce fresh evidence, but before you are allowed to do so, you must show that the evidence you're trying to introduce was otherwise not available as at the time the lawsuit was instituted. Now, in an interview, our newsman had asked if there is also the issue of two different dates of birth on his record. What came out of the deposition regarding that? With regards to the date of birth, Oluwole Afolabi said that it must be noted that the date and the month of birth for the two were the same. The date of birth for the first was March 29th, 1957, while the other was still March 29th, 1954. The explanation was that it was a human error, that the president uses that of March 29th, 1952 as his birthday till date, that he does not use the birthday that could have shaved 2 years off his age. What facts do not support is that the school disowned the validity of the certificate President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave to INEC. It is nowhere stated that the school said that the document was forged. Also, they were asked if the CSU registrar responded to questions regarding the signatories on the document. When told that those who signed the diploma were not officials of the university at the time the document was issued, he said, "That's correct. Many people understand his response to have cast doubt on the authenticity of the document. What do you say to that? Now, Oluwole Afolabi, in answering, said that the registrar could not have known when the diploma was issued, as he was not there and the school does not keep copies. But both the diplomas were said to have been issued after 1979, but no one knew for sure when they were issued. They could only speculate as to time frame. We should recall that the president submitted his diploma to INEC in June 2022, and the elections were held in February 2023. He also filed his petition in March 2023, and he did not approach the United States District Court until August 2023. And even if it were a regular civil matter, what do you think would have been the attitude of the court? And below are the full details of our interview with Mr. Afolabi. Mr. Afolabi said that at page 41 of the condensed depositions transcript, Mr. Westberg had this to say, that the students in question graduated from the university on June 22, 1979. The student in question, Mr. Westberg, is talking about, as we all know, is our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In continuing his statement, he said, "We're not qualified to verify whether this document is authentic, given that it is not in our possession." When asked what does the outcome mean to his client, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Oluwole Afolabi stated that the positions was a boom to the president, that it has cleared up a lot of misconceptions and mischaracterizations of events regarding the president's academic qualifications. That firstly, it offered an opportunity for the CSU to state loudly and clearly that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu attended and graduated with honors degree in accounting from the CSU University in 1979. And secondly, that the false narrative that he had been put out there by mischief makers that the president had used the identity of a female to gain admission to CSU was also cleared up. The registrar of CSU was emphatic in maintaining that the transcript of the president from Southwest College was erroneously marked as belonging to a female. The registrar said such errors are not usual that such errors are unusual, that the president applied to CSU as a male student and his letter of universities in the United States issues diplomas without qualm, and that all we all need to know is that diplomas bear the year of graduation, not minding the year the request was put in. Mr. Westberg also testified that CSU does not keep copies of applications for reissuance of diplomas, and it is also clear that the copies of diploma had been picked up by the students, and so the school cannot speak on the authenticity of a document of which it does not have a copy, since it has been picked up by the students. That furthermore, that if we should take a look at Exhibit 11, the affidavit of Mr. Westberg, there is confirmation that the document was authentic. One can take it as one like. We cannot authenticate or it is authenticated. When asked categorically if the diploma was not forged, Oluwole Afolabi said yes, the diploma was not forged. That there is nothing in the record to back up such allegations. He who alleges must prove, and thus it behoves on Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and his lawyers to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the document was forged, and they have failed in that regard, and also that suspicion is not the same thing as a proof beyond reasonable